Welcome to the summary of Make Your Bed, Little Things That Can Change Your Life, and Maybe the World by William H. McRaven. Let's uncover the gems together. Key point 1. Small acts, big impact. Navy SEAL training is an unlikely place to seek inspiration. For most people, when they are at their lowest and life feels like a terrible movie, they resort to self-help books or coaching sessions by successful entrepreneurs. What can the Navy offer them apart from military protocols and knowledge of navigation and engineering? If you think the same, you are missing out. The dangerous circumstances the Navy creates often make officers reflect deeply on their lives and draw many valuable lessons. One such officer was Admiral William H. McRaven, who decided to use the wisdom he gained in the military to inspire other people. Without further ado, here is the first lesson. Start your day by making your bed. In the Navy, it is all about discipline. If your bed is messy, you get a penalty from your instructor. A neat bed gives you the nod of approval. In real life, making your bed gives you a sense of accomplishment. Throughout the day, you can make mistakes or revert your progress. But when you come home, you see your completed task. Build your resilience through consistent, disciplined actions, no matter how small. If you need more motivational boost to change your life, this summary is for you. Get a sneak peek into Navy life and feel inspired. Key point 2. From setbacks to comebacks. For William McRaven, there was no worse and more humiliating thing in Navy SEAL training than becoming a sugar cookie. Do not let the name confuse you. It was nothing sweet. On the instructor's demand, soldiers had to run into the ocean and then, completely wet, roll into the dunes, turning themselves into a cookie. The most confusing thing was that there was no reason for this punishment. Even those soldiers who excelled at training could be seen rolling in the sand, screaming hoo-yah and faking their enthusiasm. McRaven also couldn't escape this destiny. When he dived from the sand, he ran to his instructor, Lieutenant Philip L. Martin, to show his progress. Martin was one of the most exceptional people in the Navy, earning immense respect for being an outstanding athlete and swimmer. When the lieutenant finally saw McRaven in his cookie form, he told him one thing: life is not fair, and the sooner you find out, the better. Later, life turned unfair for Martin after a severe bicycle accident left him in a wheelchair. But even after 35 years of being paralyzed, Martin followed his philosophy. Instead of complaining about his destiny, he made peace with it and decided to live his life to the fullest. He is the founder and supervisor of the annual Super Frog Triathlon in Colorado and is interested in painting. Success is not only about career achievements or physical prowess, but about navigating life's trials. Blaming circumstances, like environment or upbringing, is always the easier option. But easier does not mean better. You become a greater person when you take responsibility for your life and face adversity. One way is to create a plan B. Consider possible negative scenarios, job change or health issue, and devise a backup plan you would follow. Work on your financial safety net to catch you in the darkest times. Did you know? Nelson Mandela, Stephen Hawking, and Malala Yousafzai stand out in history because they found a way around life's unfairness. Key point 3. Failure as a forge. In SEAL training, a swim buddy is one of the closest people a soldier can have. Swim buddies are interdependent because they are tied to each other while diving. They are partners and allies because they spend most of their time together training and studying. And when one falls behind, the other gets punished. Swim buddies, William McRaven and Ensign Mark Thomas, failed their swimming training and anxiously anticipated their punishment, the circus. It was another intense training that happened at the end of the day, but there was a twist. The circus exercises were so exhausting that trainees couldn't meet the requirements of the following day. So, they were bound to get into the vicious cycle of punishment again. As William and Mark entered the circus, which featured hundreds of push-ups, sit-downs, and flutter kicks, they were sure they would fail. But, to their surprise, the circus brought them something completely different. Multiple exercises made them stronger, so they were far ahead of the others at the next swim. The circus was not the only punishment for failure that McRaven experienced. In 1983, he was fired from the Navy. He wanted to introduce new changes to his squadron, but old rules won. McRaven lost his reputation among his peers and thought his Navy career was over. Presented with the choice to return to civilian life or show others he was worthy of being a SEAL, McRaven decided to stay and learn from his mistakes. He was then deployed overseas, where he could prove his courage and ability to lead his comrades. Your failures should not be your verdict, but lessons to learn. If you find it hard to accept failures as natural pinpoints on your life path, try this. Reframe how you see failure. Instead of saying, "I have failed," say, "It was a good lesson for me. What can I learn from it?" Use a checklist. After every failure, reflect on what happened and create a checklist of what went wrong. Then, use this checklist for your future projects. Ask for feedback. Ask your colleagues or friends how they see your work and how you can improve. Key point 4. Higher stakes, higher rewards. To take risk means to be a true Navy SEAL, and that risk is substantial. SEAL soldiers conduct their anti-terrorism operations in big cities and jungles, in the maritime and mountainous zones. For outsiders, such dangerous missions might seem crazy, but for Navy soldiers, it is the most calculated and reasonable thing they can do for the general good. If you want to change the world, slide down the obstacle head first. William H. McRaven. William McRaven witnessed such hazardous operations many times in Iraq. At one point, they had to rescue hostages that al-Qaeda terrorists were holding on the outskirts of Baghdad. The mission was dangerous for 2 reasons. 1, terrorists were planning on moving, which meant Navy SEALs had to act quickly in broad daylight. Hence, there would be no element of surprise at night. The second reason was that the terrorists were hiding in the compound building with a high wall around it, which made helicopter landing very tricky. Nevertheless, there was no other option, and McRaven, who was in charge, approved the mission. Through the surveillance camera, McRaven watched as 3 helicopters tried to approach the compound. As they did, the rescue force entered the compound and freed all the hostages within 30 minutes. The risk McRaven and his comrades decided to take was not in vain. In everyday life, taking risks doesn't have to be drastic. You can start by doing the usual things differently. For example, try to reroute your path to work, take a long way, or use other transportation. If your usual recreational time is spent online, try walking without your gadgets. You can also go to your favorite restaurant and order a different dish from the menu. As you get used to taking small risks, you won't have any issues making significant changes. Whether you succeed or stumble, each risk sharpens your judgment and fuels your personal growth. Key point 5. Together we rise. Teamwork makes the dream work. This statement is very true in Navy SEAL training, where collaboration is not just an opportunity, but an absolute necessity. Throughout the first phases of SEAL training, soldiers must carry a raft boat on their heads. They use this raft to paddle their way along the coastline. If team members are missing due to sickness or other reasons, physical work increases. Soldiers must carry more and paddle harder. It was a valuable lesson for William McRaven. You can't be in this world alone. You need others who will help you achieve your goals. Later, McRaven tested this principle in his personal life. He suffered a terrible injury during the parachute jump when the nylon straps of the parachute twirled around his legs and ripped his pelvis. All this happened at an altitude of 1,500 feet. As a result of this accident, McRaven severely damaged muscles in his legs and back, which could potentially mean the end of his Navy career. Rehabilitation took a long time, and McRaven couldn't have done it without the support of his family and friends. His wife tended to his wounds and reminded him daily not to give up. His friends visited and called him frequently, offering assistance and support. His superior, Admiral Eric Olson, helped him pass the medical evaluation and continued to serve as a Navy SEAL. All this support kept McRaven afloat and contributed positively to his well-being. Finding your people is not that hard. You may already have some family members and friends who admire you and are ready to offer a helping hand. To expand this circle, try out these steps. Do not be afraid of small talk. Start conversing with your neighbors, colleagues, or people you meet at the cafe. Find people with similar values and preferences. You can apply for workshops and join a club where you can meet people who resonate with you. Being willing to share your struggles and accept help makes you genuinely approachable to others. Key point 6. How to tame a tyrant. On one occasion in his military career, William McRaven had to go face-to-face with the notorious Saddam Hussein. Once the president of Iraq, he orchestrated the murders of thousands of Shia Iraqis and Kurds. Though the power he held was completely destructive, no one in Iraq had enough courage to confront him. That was until U.S. forces captured him. William McRaven was one of the people who checked on Saddam Hussein while he was imprisoned. He immediately noticed the former dictator's aura. As the new leaders of Iraq went into the cell to talk with Hussein, they immediately stood a safe distance from him. They yelled at him, but as he motioned them to sit, they did. He started speaking to them, and they went completely silent. Even without trying, genuine confidence effortlessly grabs attention and earns respect. Iraq's leaders wanted to prove to Saddam Hussein that he was no longer in charge, but he quickly established dominance. It was a simple act of bullying. McRaven decided to act differently around Saddam Hussein. He was the one who motioned him to sit. It was a clear message to Hussein that he was no longer important in that room and could not cause any fear. You might encounter bullies at your school, university, or workplace. You'll notice that they look for people who appear weak and cannot stand up for themselves. Show any weakness from your side, and they will come for you. You can stop bullying, and you can do so with these techniques. Save your resources and walk away. Bullies love when you pay attention to them. Try to distance yourself from the conflict and not waste your energy defending yourself. Get proof. If you cannot avoid being bullied, try to get as much information as possible about what happened, time, place, and witnesses. It will help you immensely when you report it. Report it to the authorities. Tell others or people dear to you about your struggles. Inform those in charge, like teachers or supervisors. If you want to change the world, don't back down from the sharks. William H. McRaven. Conclusion. On the first day of Navy SEAL training, trainees get a choice. They can either ring the bell to quit or stay, which often means a lot of physical work and perseverance. Some choose the first option, while others challenge themselves, and very few regret their decision. In life, it is the same. Quitting may bring you comfort, but it will never bring you growth. Try this. Bring value to society. You create more purpose in your life by offering help to others. You can start by volunteering in your local community. Limit your access to negative media. Negative narratives can affect your mental health and undermine your self-esteem. Create a quota for complaining. Allocate only 5 minutes for complaints. Then get to work on solutions to your issues. That's all for now. More intriguing summaries are just a click away.